Game number 3, and actually they're underway here. Chris VanMeter and Thomas Herzog. Charlotte Sultai, Maverick is what we're watching here. You can see Herzog's going to start off with a Deathrite Shaman.
Your event's starting table number is 60.
He'll play that off of a Savannah at 19 because it was a windswept heath. VanMeter playing Charlotte Sultai this weekend can no longer play Omnitel, his favorite weapon of choice over the past handful of months because of the dig through time banning. Nowhere near as strong of a deck as it used to be. No surprise to see us in game number 3 here either. This is a pretty long matchup.
Yes, it is very grindy. Both decks are more defense than offense by legacy standards. Both settle in for long games post-board as well.
Verdant Catacombs here from VanMeter is how he'll start his 3rd game. See if he maybe has a Deathrite Shaman to match. Herzog, the former Michigan State basketball player. 7 feet tall, even though you can barely tell when he's in the chair. A lot of success with Maverick on the Open Series. We've seen him make top 8s before, and most notably in Detroit. Part of a Best of SCG Live moment. As here's a Thoughtseize from VanMeter. And no surprise to see him making a deep run with the deck.
You see a hand here from Herzog of a Deathrite Shaman in play, Knight of the Reliquary, Green Sun Zenith, Stoneforge Mystic, another Green Sun Zenith in hand. This deck, Maverick, it's just all good utility and 2-for-1s. It's usually hard to pick a hole in the hand with Maverick because even though the cards do different things, it is redundant in its own way. It has a lot of ways to recoup lost cards. It has a lot of ways to get utility out of different cards. So it's a hard deck to attack with Thoughtseize.
It's pretty tough to poke a hole in this hand. Seems like the only real piece that isn't redundant at this point is Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the hand is a very powerful green creature and 2 tutors for a green creature. So tough to cut Herzog off of that.
See what VanMeter decides upon here, however. He's going to go with Knight of the Reliquary.
Possible that Chris is just not ready to handle Knight of the Reliquary ahead of the schedule right now.
They would be able to play it next turn with Herzog, thanks to the Deathrite Shaman. Herzog going to remove that Verdant Catacombs from mana. Here is Stoneforge Mystic. Time for him to go searching. We'll see what equipment he wants to find. Looks like he's thinking Sword of Fire and Ice.
Okay, as the last few players
and
make their way to their seats for standard, I have a few quick announcements. My name is Ricky Hayashi. I am the show lead.
He's going to sacrifice
so if you have any issues
the windswept heath. He'll Zenith for 0. Go get himself a Dryad Arbor.
All right, this is a very good development turn here for Herzog.
Yep.
Putting a threat on the table that needs to be answered, generating a lot of mana. Now he's threatening to Zenith for 3 next turn for Knight of the Reliquary or something else, and demanding that VanMeter answer the Stoneforge Mystic. So very explosive turn here.
It's only the 2nd turn of the game, too.
Of course, the StarCityGames.com.
Mana's all online. It's a good spot to be in at this point.
The Dryad Arbor represents more mana. It also represents another creature that the sword or some other piece of equipment can potentially go on. This is forcing VanMeter to either answer the sword or answer a whole array of creatures.
We also have our special guest. He is back. Mr. RK Post, Magic Artist, the man of 100 tokens. Please check out his booth.
We're going back to VanMeter.
And in the alcove next
Picked
to
up a
him,
copy of Abrupt Decay.
Jacqueline Foglia is back. And it looks like Eric Klar is not yet here, but I'm sure he'll be here shortly. So please check out those fantastic artists and altruists and their wares throughout the day.
And you're seeing what Maverick can do. Yes, spot removal is good against the deck. There are a lot of targets for Abrupt Decay in the list. But the deck presents so many different cards that require Abrupt Decay that removal spells often just get overloaded.
Does have some expensive cards, not as expensive as Legacy, but we do want you to keep your coffee off the table.
There's a polluted Delta.
Because we don't want to see your Gideon ally of Zendikar.
Back to Herzog we go.
Gideon Tall Chai of Zendikar. That's a Starbucks reference.
Ricky Hayashi
right,
in the
standard
background
PIQ
doing
players,
the
I have-
opening announcements for the Modern
proud
IQ,
to introduce
telling
your head
the
judge
worst
here
joke I've ever
today.
heard.
Yeah, really
He
not
is
good.
from
We're gonna have to talk to him about
Speedway,
that.
No,
Indiana.
I actually think it's bad enough that it had to have
He is
been on
level 2
purpose.
judge
Okay.
Patrick Nelson,
Okay.
ladies
So we
and
shouldn't
gentlemen.
talk to him about
Right.
that. Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome.
Herzog on his third turn in a very good position at this point. Again, remember, VanMeter does have a copy of Abrupt Decay in his hand.
And Herzog's aware of that, and I've watched him play this deck a lot. He usually tries to avoid getting blown out. He's not one who's inclined to just go for it. With VanMeter showing 2 mana here, I don't think he's going to spend his turn trying to put a sword on a creature and attack.
You will receive a max cost and will be dropped from the tournament. If at that point you wish to re-enroll in the
I believe Herzog just passed the turn back.
Liz up on the stage and she'll get you back in.
Yeah, he did.
Not a great feeling if you are VanMeter.
Please raise your hand.
You're expecting him to do something.
Yeah.
The judges raising your hands have been assigned to your event. They will be taking a most.
I know you
draw.
got Zenith for 3 in there.
Yeah, why aren't you doing
Judge Blue
anything?
is able to answer your calls.
Baleful Strix the draw.
If you disagree with any of the 4 judges' rulings, you have the right to appeal. All of my rulings today
There's a Deathrite Shaman.
are final. At this time, please make sure
Now we're going to head back to Herzog. He's going to activate Stoneforge
Make
Mystic.
sure there are at least 60
There's the
cards
sword.
in your main deck and between 0 and 15 cards.
Now Deathrite Shaman's going to take care of the Thoughtseize. That'll drain Chris for a little bit of life. Now we head back Herzog's way.
We're looking for the following individuals in the standard PIQ.
Wasteland
Who
the draw.
are present, please make yourself
Note the
known
tapping
to
there
us.
by VanMeter.
Keith
Pretty smart.
Barkley.
Yep.
Is there a Keith Barkley here in the room today? If you do not make yourself known, you will be dropped. Last call for Keith Barkley. Okay. Next, we're looking
Time to
for
equip the
Caleb
Stoneforge. We're coming into the
Dotson.
red zone.
Is there a Caleb Dotson?
VanMeter with
Going
Golgari Charm in
once.
hand too. This will be interesting.
Going twice.
There's a lot of 1 toughness
Yes.
in the Maverick deck, and Mother of Runes is an especially problematic card. So
There's a block from Deathrite
No
Shaman.
Caleb. All right. You're Caleb?
VanMeter going to sacrifice
All
Blue to
right, Caleb
Delta.
is here. Dalton Irwin.
Curious what land Chris
We
wants
have
to
a
search up.
Dalton Irwin.
Again, Charlotte Salter doesn't play a ton of
with us
basics.
today. Anyone? Going once.
and the mana's pulled in a lot of different directions.
Going twice.
The way people used to try to go about beating this deck once it got very popular was
No
Blood Moon.
Dalton. And
We have seen it
finally,
work actually in this building.
Jackson
Here's
Samuels.
Abrupt Decay.
Jackson.
I'll take care of the sword. Stoneforge and Deathrite will run into each other.
One more thing before we begin. Please remember to communicate
Keep in
with
mind,
your opponent.
Herzog's Deathrite is active. VanMeter's Deathrite is summoning sick.
Clean and crisp throughout the event.
There's Wasteland to go after the
Please
Tropical
also
Island.
try to practice good sportsmanship. I don't want to have a lot of salt going on in the room. Judges, at this time, please collect the deck lists for standard. Pairings will be posted momentarily.
Now we head back Herzog's way. VanMeter going to draw. Picked up a Forest. Found enough room for 2 basics in the deck list this weekend.
You just got to be out of respect for Blood Moon.
Yeah.
With a forest and a swamp, he can cast Golgari Charm. So, makes sense.
Abrupt Decay 2.
Yes.
Yep. Creeping Tar Pit. And now Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf going to check in at a 4-5. Herzog will remove Abrupt Decay, bring Tarmogoyf down a little bit, along with VanMeter's life total. So over to Herzog we go. He'll draw. Looks to be a scrub land there for land number 4. Curious how he wants to use this other Zenith that he has. He's had it for some time now.
I can't imagine they're being anything much juicier to go get here than Knight of the Reliquary.
Kind of the staple of the deck. Also has a copy of Mother Runes. Looks like maybe 2 in hand.
And if VanMeter can't kill the Knight immediately, that can just be the whole game.
Yep.
At that point, he starts chaining together Wastelands. VanMeter already appears to be a little bit pinned on mana as it is.
You saw Herzog activate Deathrite Shaman to remove a land, and VanMeter said, actually, I'll remove the land. So Herzog won't get mana from that, but he's got plenty of lands to play this Zenith here for 3.
And now the Reliquary is already fairly large. And again, VanMeter cannot handle Wastelands getting looped for very long. You can see his hand, I believe right now, is Forest, Golgari Charm, and Baleful Strix, meaning he cannot answer the Knight.
Not yet. We'll see if he draws into an answer, however. And it can't be understated that now the Reliquary demands an answer very quickly. I believe another Tarmogoyf may have been the draw.
There's nothing wrong with Tarmogoyf here, but as you mentioned, it takes very little time for this Knight to generate an advantage that is insurmountable.
Baleful Strix will trigger. Underground Sea, the draw. And neither Reliquary right now is outclassing Tarmogoyf. It's a 5/5.
And it's only going to get worse.
VanMeter considering another Tarmogoyf here, I believe. G-Charm not doing too much else.
And I think that VanMeter is also loath to cast spells if he can avoid it, because another issue that's happening right now, VanMeter is at 12, he's got some time, but he's getting chipped away a little bit by Herzog's Deathrite Shaman. And, you know, yes, VanMeter can respond with his own Deathrite Shaman activation, but that requires a mana left over on his own turn. That's not the easiest thing for him to come up with right now. So casting spells for little effect is something that VanMeter wants to avoid, because right now there's no spells in either player's graveyard. So the Deathrite Shaman is not a concern, but every spell that he casts it likely results in 2 points of damage.
Chris might be thinking red zone here. All right. Well, for what it's worth, there is no instant in the graveyard right now, so this is actually kind of a sneaky play. Sneaky-ish.
And Herzog plays a risk-adverse game of Magic enough where I think he's, even if he can't identify the card that's on his radar right now, he's just going to say no blocks.
Yep.
He's at 18.
One thing that Chris can do there, too, is he can activate Deathrite Shaman to take out a land out of the graveyard, bring Knight down to a 4/4.
Yep.
And then Golgari Charm can finish it off. So there are some unique ways that he can go about taking care of that of the Reliquary, and that's a good no block there by Herzog, because Knight is so important and his life total is high enough to say, all right, I'll take 3.
Yep.
I'd rather have this active Knight, and let's get to work with this thing. You are correct, however, identifying that Herzog does play a very risk-adverse game.
Yeah, I think I think that Herzog's logic in that spot is just Knight is super powerful. It's a risky attack from Chris. He's probably got something. Even if I don't know exactly what the sequence is, I'm not going to block here.
Sylvan Library and Mother of Runes are the plays here for Herzog. Active Deathrite Shaman, active Stoneforge, active Knight. Green-White Maverick really working and doing its thing here. A very powerful utility creature. It's going to activate the Knight now. There goes the Scrubland. Black-White duel hits the bin. We'll see what now the Reliquary brings to the table. It's going to be Wasteland. That's going to take care of Creeping Tar Pit. We had a feeling this was going to start coming.
He also now has VanMeter cut off of blue mana, at least on the table. He can respond to VanMeter activating his Deathrite Shaman by activating his own and getting the land in question out of the graveyard. The rest of VanMeter's lands don't produce blue mana.
Chris can activate Deathrite Shaman to take care of a land here from the graveyard, which is smart. Can slow down Knight a little bit.
And I like that play from Herzog. He didn't make a move on that one. He wants to avoid VanMeter getting the blue mana on his own turn. So yeah, you want to exile my land and cast a Brainstorm or something? That's okay. But I don't want you to drop a blue land and be able to resolve Chase the Mind Sculptor.
Now, I was curious if Chris actually had this card in his deck. It's a copy of Toxic Deluge. And he did draw one. So what VanMeter can kind of open up with now is if he wants to reset this game, he can. He can Deluge away the board at a pretty hefty life total. Pretty hefty life cost, excuse me. Golgari Charm away the Sylvan Library, and then we can play draw step for draw step.
Well, he can't do it all in one turn, assuming that Herzog responds to the Deathrite Shaman activation for mana by using his own. He can just Deluge this turn, allow Herzog one rip with Sylvan Library, untap and Golgari Charm it, and hope to outdraw him. I don't know if he's favored in that kind of game, though.
Yeah, I don't want to give him a rip with the... I don't want to give him a rip, basically, with the library. Yeah, you see Herzog here. Activate Deathrite Shaman in response to Chris's, so Chris won't get the mana. Pretty tough spot here, too, because you know that Herzog is probably going to wasteland you again.
Standard PIQ players.
Yes.
Thank you for your patience. We are experiencing some technical difficulties.
But I might have some interest in just saying, all right, I'm going to G-Charm away your Sylvan Library right now.
For modern PIQ registration, if you wish to play in the 10 a.m.
I just don't want to let you have that thing.
It also makes your attack with the Tarmogoyf a lot better this turn.
Yep.
Because you get an instant and an enchantment in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's Tarmogoyfs, too. They can both get in there. Maybe even Baleful Strix starts to feel a little frisky. So, Golgari Charm's going to take care of the Sylvan Library. Goyfs are going to grow, as you mentioned. They're up to 5/6s.
If things break the right way, it's possible Chris can set up the Deluge next turn such that his Goyfs survive and everything on Herzog's side dies.
Okay.
The worst case scenario is he has to reset. He might be winning on the board right now.
Yep.
He may not even have to reset the game.
There's a land for Herzog. Keep in mind, within those lands, too, there's a copy of Dryad Arbor. And so that would die to the Toxic Deluge as well.
Although it looks like Herzog here has Knight of the Reliquary. Or, excuse me,
Kusali
Pride
Mage.
I mean, he might just go very aggressive here. It's possible he knocks out the Baleful Strix, sends in an attack here. Looks like he's doing it the other way, just attacking with the Arbor.
Thank you for your patience, standard Premier IQ players. Your pairings for round number 1 are being posted on...
Looks like Strix is going to jump in front of that.
And
It would die to
available
Pride Mage anyway, I
online
think is the
at
thinking.
pairings.starcitygames.com. Please make sure to refresh the
I just don't know if
page.
trading with
Up to
a
date
land here is what Chris wants to be doing when the precise size of Herzog's Knight of the Reliquary is a significant factor in what he can do with the Deluge.
Sure. And adding an artifact to the graveyard doesn't matter at this point. There's already one down there in Sword.
Yeah.
Right now, Knight of the Reliquary is 6/6. 4 lands in the graveyard, it appears.
If Chris went ahead and made that play, I assume that he is just resetting the game with Deluge this turn, if he's making that block.
I'll tell you what, with how much time's left in this game, we're working our way to about 90 seconds. About time to make a decision. Neither of these players want another draw. And attack's not even particularly good now because Mother Runes is active.
Yeah.
So some sort of hero attack to push through some damage, but probably won't get very far. If your creature's going to die, I suppose it doesn't hurt. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to do this.
It may allow VanMeter to have to Deluge for less of his life.
Yeah. Looks like Knight's going to block. Plus, I suppose he can get through some damage here, so...
Yeah.
Pardon me.
I mean, every creature on Herzog's side of the table looks significant for Herzog.
Yeah.
They're all good. So I don't think he's going to chump just for the sake of chumping.
Sure. As you mentioned, there's the real possibility here. Well, I imagine other runes will be activated, probably. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. That's so nice for Chris, because now he gets to Toxic Deluge and not lose his Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, that is huge.
That is huge. That is absolutely huge. Now, one thing Chris has got to keep into account is how big can Herzog make the
Legacy players.
Another Reliquary in response to Toxic Deluge, so he knows how much life to pay. And he can activate Knight, sack a land, get a fetch land, so put 2 lands in the graveyard. I think that's the best he can do. He can also activate Knight.
Wasteland himself.
Wasteland himself, yeah, that's the other one.
But VanMeter always has the option to get 1 land out of Herzog's graveyard with the Deathrite Shaman. So it's +2 on the max if Herzog is willing to Wasteland himself.
Sure.
Standard players, welcome to round 1. You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
Looks like we're in turn 0 of extra turns. VanMeter will have 0, 2, and 4. Herzog should have 1, 3, and 5. And now the big question is how much to Toxic Deluge for? Because he's going to cast it. He's just got to figure out for how much. He's going to pay 4 life. Remember that Knight of the Reliquary currently has 5 damage on it. It's a 6/6. Chris believes the best that he can make it is a 9/9. So if he's right about that, life is pretty good. And as you mentioned, Deathrite Shaman can kind of control it a little bit.
Yeah. I think Chris is happy to pass priority with his own Deathrite Shaman if Herzog's going to do it. I think he's just committing his Deathrite to responding to whatever Herzog does with his. That block there on Herzog's side is so challenging. So many different things are potentially playing around there.
He'll activate another Reliquary, sacrifice a forest.
If you preemptively give your Knight protection from green there to play around this card and VanMeter happened to have drawn Abrupt Decay,
it's bad news.
you look really bad.
Yep. I suppose there is a lot that could have gone wrong there. Couldn't get a Horizon Canopy. Somebody needs a little help.
Well, yeah, at this point, Herzog is just on the hunt for chump blockers or Swords to Plowshares, and hopefully to get a draw from there. And Horizon Canopy, to me, seems better than Wasteland at this point. They both grow the Knight the same amount, but any draws, any chump blocker, any removal spell right now, very good for Herzog.
Yeah, super valuable to find something like that. This just gives him another shot at it. He is working with constricted mana, but that's all part of it now.
We also know that VanMeter's on empty. I mean, he's got nothing going on except for this Tarmogoyf after the fact.
Yep.
So Swords of Plowshares is a huge draw, and even just random chump blockers might be enough for Herzog to get a draw.
So we'll see what Herzog's thinking about here. Yeah, Deluge is going to resolve. Everything except for Tarmogoyf's going to die. VanMeter's Tarmogoyf will grow into a 6/7 now. And now Herzog not going to activate the canopy just yet.
He could draw a Knight, for example.
Dahlia will work. It's a chump blocker. Turn 2 of extra turns. Deathrite Shaman the draw here for Chris. There's an attack and a block, predictable. Follow up his Deathrite Shaman. He needs Herzog to brick. He does, he wins. Turn 3. Another Thalia. VanMeter's got a redraw at it. Removal spell will get it done. Deathrite Shaman will not. Here's a Tarmogoyf. Attack. There's a block. Another Deathrite Shaman. Turn 5 of extra turns. It looks like it's going to be a draw here by the narrowest of margins. There's a land here for Herzog. He'll blow the Horizon Canopy. He'll draw a card. It would be a useless Noble Hierarch. And VanMeter looks like he's got enough tools in the tank to be able to get there with Deathrite Shaman. So these players will have the discussion on if it's going to be a draw or if it's going to be a concession or not. Either way, we're going to be coming back to the booth here. When we do have a final result, we will let you guys know. But that's going to put a conclusion here on round number 10. So